All right. Took me a while. All right. Took me a long time. Worked on this for about, I'd say, 16 months. And I didn't work on it every day. I should have. I should have really worked on it every day because then I would have finished it probably in a month, right? Maybe even 2 months. At least this video, I'd finish in 2 months because this is 60 hours of footage of me putting down black dots on a canvas, not canvas, sorry, on mixed media heavyweight paper, 24 inches by 18 inches. It's the largest picture ever made, and I hated it for most of it. Most of it I hated it because I didn't know what to do. I had no clue. And as you can see right now, I thought, oh, if I give it like cool, like harsh kind of like cuts, scars, it'll have this unique texture to it to oppose the colors. What I didn't realize is that that sucks and that's stupid because the black of these lines is so dark because the dots are so close that it just looks weird. So I had to go back over and over and over again to even out the dots so that everything is the same shade of black because it just looks strange if it's one corner is darker than the other corner or one portion of this is too dark because the colors I'm going over, as you can see right now, that pink looks like almost like a weird white. It's so faded. Um, and that's with 3 layers of white, and that purple, that dark purple, is like 4 layers of purple because for some reason these markers fade away with time. And I was so upset. I used 2 hands to put down black dots, and I realized that it's not going to work. My left hand isn't as dexterous as my right. I'm not. I can't be ambidextrous. It's not possible. But I wisened up, and I put a rubber band around my pin, tied it in my finger, and said, you know what? I play cookie clicker. Okay, I know how fast I can click. All right, let me try that with this pin, and that sped up things way faster, and it also stopped my hand from hurting, which is a good thing because after you're done drawing, for 3 hours straight without breaks, because you're so in it, you know what I mean? Your hand hurts, and you can't do anything for the rest of the day. You can't play video games. You can't, write stuff or like use your phone really, and you're just like, what am I gonna do? I have to sit here and like consume YouTube videos or something because I'm just like unable to do anything that involves creativity with the hand, which is like everything. So like I can't do anything. And my left hand isn't worthy of drawing apparently, so I can't use it. Okay. Anyway, I don't know really why I went with this design on this piece. It's a very large image, and I can put a lot of stuff in an image of this size using pins with point. Let me see it again. 0.4 millimeter points. Dots of that size can show so much detail. I would say to a point of photorealism if I really tried hard enough and I did it correctly, as opposed to like some sort of flat coloring or some stylistic shading or something. I could totally make a photorealistic flower, photorealistic something, with this scale, you know. But uh, I'm not confident enough in my pointillism abilities and ability to color using these dots that I can um, attempt that yet. And I didn't really want to mess up on a flower on a scale this large. And I tried already. I tried in I think my first video ever made, or second video ever made. I think it was called "We Have Dots" or something, and it has like Wojaks pointing at the screen. I tried to make a rose, pink rose with red, on a canvas this size. Um, and it didn't go well because it looked like a blob, and you couldn't tell what was happening. And I didn't really know how to use the camera yet. I didn't have the settings down. My tripod was still sort of weird to get used to, and I didn't like my tripod. The whole recording session of everything I recorded, I've used the same tripod. So I decided to go on Amazon, and I purchased this uh, phone holder. So you attach your phone to like the bed frame with this like apparatus that you twist and clamps down, right? So you can bend this like metal like uh, rod to any shape you want. So I decided to buy that and clamp it to my tripod. So I had this overlooking perspective for the camera, and one I couldn't interfere with because it's on the other side of my desk, not touching anything, not touching the desk. You know, I'm far from the carpet that if I put my feet down and finally like have my feet out and not like in, and I'm all cramped up next to the tripod, I don't touch the tripod legs because it's so far away, and I'm a short guy, so I don't touch it, right? Uh, and it's like that angle. It looks a lot better than this weird angle right here. You see me drawing, you see like this weird perspective where it's like the paper up top looks further away because the camera's tilted. It's weird. And so if I did dots like these and they look further away than they really are, because the camera can't like see what I'm trying to show correctly. It's got a weird perspective shift, and you know, that sucks. That's bad. I don't like it. I didn't like watching it in the other videos. I hate listening to my own voice. So I do one recording. I don't listen to it. I sound like a nerd. Okay, I sound like a nerd, a geek. Okay, a geek. Okay, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear some geek in my ear for 42 minutes long straight talking about nonsense. Uh, I don't know. The time lapse also I felt like was too long last time. Over an hour. That's a waste of time. Okay, and especially I didn't even voice over all of the hour. So you're just sitting there for like what, 50 minutes listening to silence, just breathing your own thoughts? No, nobody does that. Nobody sits there for an hour in silence watching a time lapse. You know, I don't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't watch that video. I did find it satisfying though to see because I didn't watch the time lapse video, so I didn't notice the black voids that happened in the recording, which there were a lot of in this one too. For some reason, I had about 5 or 6 black spaces of just nothing being recorded. And it wasn't missing footage. It was just like in between recordings, there was just voids. I'm not sure what was going on with that. Which it was weird. I got rid of them. Um, Also, it recorded the audio I was listening to the music of my Spotify playlist and stuff. And it's weird. You can like, there's a point where I'm like kind of getting tired of this like metalcore music, and I kind of delve more into like older stuff like Billy Idol. And then I think at one point I right clicked on his song and I went to song radio, and it recommended me stuff that isn't Billy Idol. Like nothing came out in the year Billy Idol was making music, right? And it was like stuff like Doom Dance and like let me see the names of these Monster in Paradise and Tech Noir, you know, and these like songs, they were like a weird like bright kind of feeling as opposed to metalcore, which is kind of more dark. I would say it's not like, oh, it's dark and edgy. It's like it's like it's a darker flavor as opposed to these songs like Gunship, uh, you know, Gunship's Monster in Paradise, Beware the Beast by Carpenter Brut, Tech Noir, Carpenter Brut remix, Excess by Perturbator and Health, these things they have a more lighter feel, and I think that was also helpful in making this drawing because I had more of I had a new songs to listen to, and it made this a little bit more enjoyable, right? Because putting down dots is kind of boring if you're listening to the same song over and over again, you know, for years. Because this my playlist that has this metalcore is probably like 6 years old now, and it's like high school music, like I'm not the same person as I was in high school. I may not really be into it as much as then, right? And also, it's just an older song that I've heard it too many times and I've already kind of gotten tired of, right? And I think that was also an aspect of this too. I was tired of putting down black dots. In my last drawing, I put down black dots for a larger portion than I put down dots for the flowers. And I said I didn't like that because I had to deal with this picture, and that was a break. I went about halfway through this picture here, and then I dropped it and went on to the flower drawing that I posted last time. Did that whole thing, and then I went back to this one. I made a whole other pointillism project as a break from black dots, and I still ended up putting down black dots. And now I want to make another one that is this large and has black dots. And I think I want to make one that is a rose. There's a rose in it. I was thinking a rose bush that's in shadowed and like a hand that's like negative white space, um, kind of holding the stem of a rose within this bush. And that's the source of light. The hand is this pure white negative space. The rose is this bright red, and it has shading with black dots. And the other roses in the bush are, they're darkening until they get to a point of basically totally enshrouded in darkness. There's only a hint of color to give an idea that there's a rose. And it would look. I think the hand would be rather striking. This the only void white in a picture of this size with so much motion of black dots and so much coverage, completely, of a void of black, of a total abyss. I think that would be very striking. But I need to draw roses. Pretty good. And many times at different angles. I took a bunch of pictures of a rose I got from the store. And I think my main mistake was assuming that I could create a rose perfectly. Because I can draw other flowers perfectly, but a rose is so weirdly intricate. I can never get it right. It's so folded in on itself. It's so complex, but also just so simple. It's just layer after layer after layer. I see other artists draw roses, and they just draw like little triangles that kind of spiral out of each other, you know, at a larger scale. Each one is bigger than the other one, and they keep going out and out, 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 out until they get a rose shape, and it looks fine. And it's made with maybe 30 lines, and it's like, wow, that looks really good. Why can't I do that? And I guess it's because I'm a perfectionist. Every triangle you see here, I measured carefully, and when I put down the dots, of course my hand inevitably slips in my impatience, and a red dot ends up a little too far out in the pink dots, and suddenly I have to bend the line of the red triangle to be more curved, and it looks bad, and it's like, well, I had no choice. And I thought, it'd be very bad. It looked really bad because it happened a lot. There was a lot of imperfections in these triangles, a lot of points where there are splotches that are darker than others. You know, I even spilt passion fruit tea on this drawing, on the negative space, the white space. I spilt passion fruit tea, and you can't even tell it's there. It dried blue, which is crazy. This red fruit dyed. It dyed the paper blue, and then I erased it, and it went off, which is crazy. But point is, there's a lot of mistakes in this picture. A lot of things I would change because it happened a year ago when I started it. And it was sitting there for so long, just antagonizing me forever because I would look at it whenever I played a game, whenever I looked at the clock, whenever I sat down at my desk, whenever I woke up, it was always right there in front of me because it's such a big piece of paper. I have to put it on my other desk because I have 3 desks in my room, one to draw at, one to store this thing, and one to have my computer on. I have 5 tables, 2 TV trays in this room. It's too much. It's too much stuff. And yet my room is clean because all the crap is on tables. Ugh, whatever. Anyways, I finished this drawing, okay? And this angle you see here is the bane of my existence, okay? This sucks. I hated this angle. It looks terrible. You can't even see the dots I'm putting down. Oh. And I think this is the last recording session I did before I get the new tripod. I think. I may be totally wrong. And there's another drawing session, but look at how far away my hand is. I had no choice. I have no other way of recording it back then, you know? And that stupid phone apparatus I got from Amazon, it broke. I had to super glue the clamps back together because they broke off. Ridiculous. Ugh. You know, this whole thing is fueled by caffeine, okay? I sit down with Tazo tea in my system, okay? I got that Earl Grey because I'm that, you know what I'm saying? I'm that British high class in the year like 1638, you know what I'm saying? And it's got that L-thymine in it, so it's calming me down, you know? And then I switched to coffee, which doesn't have L-thymine, so you don't calm down. You just have straight caffeine. And I get excited drawing because I love drawing. It's so much fun. Wow, you know, putting on dots. I love it. I don't know why I'm stupid. You know, and I get excited and I just go at it, you know, and it's like I don't really think about anything. And I hate thinking about measurements, about scale, about proportion, about, you know, angling, about all these things that technical artists are able to do at a rate that looks so good. You know, I see mechs drawn, I see soldiers drawn, guns, I see cars, planes, and it's like, man, I want to do that, but I just can't. I have the aphantasia and the impatience that disables me from doing it. You know, but also the strange excitement and focus to put down this many dots. So I don't know. I'm not. I don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Uh, but these dots used up about 4 of these precision V5 fine point pilot pins, which I like a lot, but they have a tendency to glob up. If you're drawing with it like a pin, not like a pointillism dot putter, I guess, it has a tendency to glob up on the side of the like kind of weird spout it has, because it has a hole. It has 2 holes on the side of the end of the pin, the pin head has 2 holes in it, um, and that can cause a weird like buildup of ink. So whenever you put a line down in the opposite direction you were putting down these lines at, it leaves a glob of ink. And that can look good if you're doing like a messy, goopy kind of rough drawing, because that's how I draw. I draw kind of goopy, kind of rough, kind of gross over perfect lines. That's what I kind of like to do. I like to do exact recreations of things with line art, and then the shading and the shadows are harsh and messy and rough. I don't know. I just like to do that. But these pins kind of have that tendency to do that. So if you're drawing that sort of precise outlines or precise whatever with these pins, it's kind of, you know, to be wary of that. When you put down dots, though, that problem doesn't really occur. What does happen, though, is there are fluctuations in dot darkness, I've noticed. So sometimes I have to quickly like tap the pin because it's just dumping so much ink. Other times I have to kind of slow down and kind of push in really hard to leave a mark at all. And the pins are kind of finicky. I used 3 pins up to get to this point. This pin you're seeing now, I used the whole drawing afterwards. So about 40% of all the dots I put down were used with 1 pin. And I think because the other pins went through a stage of just being very pale and very light that I didn't sit through. I didn't have the patience to sit there and just wait for them to work again, you know? And I ended up throwing them out early, I think. But anyway, this pin here, I am able to get working correctly, and I realize what's going on. But these are my favorite pins. I use them all the time because they're so accurate and they're so precise, and they don't really leave a mess. They dry quickly. They work with these Master's Touch dual twin tip, or what are they called? Fine line markers, twin tip. I got from Hobby Lobby for like 16.99, 22.99, and another one that's oh, doesn't have a price on it. But they have a lot of colors. It's a limited color palette, sure. They don't blend, sure. But you know what? They don't smear. They dry instantly. And I don't need every color in the world. I have a Prismacolor um is that what it's called? Prismacolor? Yeah, Prismacolor colored pencil set. Every color of the rainbow because it was on sale. Like every single color. There's like 150 colored pencils in there, and I don't use them because there's too many. You know, and it kind of scares me. You know, because I don't really use colors except for Polonism. I hate coloring because I'm just so bad at it. I've I've always been a sketch artist, I guess you could say. I just sketch stuff. I draw stuff as I see it, and as like I remember it. I guess I would always do that. From the days in Latchkey where I draw stickmen fighting zombies to uh, days in high school where I drew video game characters fighting bosses. I would draw Warren from The Surge fighting LeBig. I drew Artyom from Metro Last Light looking out at a dilapidated building, looking at a demon flying above. Um, and I can recreate anything I see. You know, I drew a Helldiver perfectly. My Helldiver, my Hellsona, actually, perfectly. But I realized like I don't know how to draw the Tyrion, not the Tyrion, it's the Terminids, and so I stopped drawing it. But I colored the Helldiver, and he looked really good. He looks perfect. I posted it on Twitter, an incomplete drawing, sure, but it looked good. You know, and I've tried to draw soldiers before. Oh my gosh, it's a black void. That was like for like 2 seconds. I totally missed it. Oh my goodness. Sorry, that sucks. I don't know why I missed that one, but it's in the video now, and you're seeing it because I'm voiceovering this. And the next video won't have any, I promise. I'll triple, quadruple check it because this is the fourth iteration of this recording because I kept messing stuff up in my DaVinci Resolve because I don't look at tutorials, so things just didn't work, and I wouldn't mess with it correctly, and I would render it down, and it would fill up my storage, and I had to delete a bunch of crap so that way it would render and work. I used to use an HDD drive to record this stuff. It took forever to render videos, to even load the program at all, because I had so many hours of footage. I got an SSD card. This thing is probably, I'd say, an eighth the size of the HDD drive and has twice the storage. Oh my goodness, it's so great. It's wonderful. I'm gonna keep using this thing till it dies. Um, but it's a Seagate. Uh, I don't know. I had a friend who had a Seagate. I have a friend. What? He died. He died in a war. No, he had a Seagate. Failed. He returned it. They gave him a new one for free. I don't know. We'll see. Uh, he still uses it. He has like 8 terabytes of storage in that thing. So I mean, it must still hold up if it's still working today, and he has it still. I don't know. I just know that my HDD drive absolutely is getting corrupted because I yell a lot. Okay, I'm on Discord playing video games, screaming my head off because I'm just a gamer like that. And I heard that apparently your voice can damage the HDD drive. Just the fluctuations of the vibrations in the air can damage the disk, which is what's happening right now. And that sucks. This coffee is just like water. I'm drinking this coffee, and it's not even that strong. Not even black. It's like a light brown. It looks like mud, almost. Not even mud. Like dirty water. That's what it looks like. If I can see like if it's as dark as my black desk, it's coffee. If it's as dark as my brown desk, it's just tart water. Not even tart anymore. It's just water. Look at this. Oh, did you see that? That dark pink. Oh Lord. You know what that is? That's the other side of the pin. The bullet tip pin has the ability to put down a perfect saturation of color. And I didn't realize it because I was too scared to mess up my drawing. I could have just went in with that pink a year ago and I probably would have finished this drawing by now, or not by now. No, it's already finished by now. I would have finished it earlier if I realized it instead of going over that pink triangle right there on the right 4 times over, or 3 times, or how many times it was, just for it to end up pale anyways. But anyway, I realized also that apparently if I put down a base color, put down black, and then on the base color of that, I get a new color, which is cool. Also, if I put down uh color and then black and then color again with the bullet tip, I get an even darker color. Um, it's weird. Oh, I put it. I wrote down the rules. Color and black plus color, and then thick color plus black, and then color plus black. So it's like there's 3 rules essentially to make different colors. So I have 3 extra colors for every color. Uh, I guess not colors. I guess they're more like tints. So I have 3 tints for every color. So in theory, I have 36 times 3. I don't know what that is. It's something. 100 and something. Probably like 108 colors? Ah, maybe. I don't know. Plus white and gray. Because white, black, one of them is gray. Fix your eyes. Ah. Also tricking your eye is the YouTube compression, making this video even worse to look at, and my superb camera quality from my phone that you're watching the videos through. Because I have to use my phone to record because I don't have an actual camera. I would totally get an actual camera, if I had the capital to acquire one. But even then, um, YouTube would compress the image of the video, and the dots would still look bad. And the lighting in my room is ever changing because I have a warm desk light and a bright sun that's always in my eye, always on my desk. Makes for good drawing, you know. But recording, the fluctuations in the sun's height and the time of day that I record cause the color to change. The white balance changes every time I record, so I have to make it fit. And as you can see right now, it looks rather warm. Uh, my white gloves don't look very white. They look kind of more like they have an orange tint to them because I didn't change the light balance to be correct. And that just sucks. That's my bad. I have it on auto white balance, but then my white glove will come into frame and my camera will adjust and make everything too blue. And it's like, wow, I can't win for losing. So I have to just sort of settle for a hard line white balance that I don't change and hope that works for the whole recording. Because sometimes I record for 3 hours straight, and the sun changes position. Like right now, as you can see, this is the correct way it's supposed to look. This is early morning, I can tell. Uh, and it has a correct look to it. But sometimes, I record early morning, take a break, record again in the evening, and it didn't change the white balance because I'm dumb. Um, that's what happens sometimes. Gosh, I don't know. It's fun to put down dots, but I don't think it makes for a good viewing experience. I don't have a very deep voice. I don't have a very interesting vocabulary to make philosophical, inquiries and questions, realizations, about art and stuff. I just know that if I keep making imperfect stuff that disappoints me, maybe one day I'll make something that is a little less imperfect and a little less disappointing, to me at least, because that's all that these drawings are really for. They're for me, you know. Um, Someone can like them all they want, someone can hate them all they want, but it's like they're mine. I made them. No one else made them. No one else would make these things except for me. Because why would you do this to yourself? Um, for so many years, for so long, every time I show off this work to someone, they're like, "Oh wow, that sure took a while, didn't it?" And it's like, "Yeah, it did." And it's like that's the thing they say. They don't say oh wow, I like how you did this or that. It's always first thing they say. That took a while. I guess that's good. They felt something. They felt that it took a while. So I've succeeded as an artist in making you feel something. But I don't know. I think this drawing's kind of garish, kind of sudden, kind of too much, you know? And I don't want to hang it up on the wall. But I have to buy a frame for it so it'll stick up in my closet and not be messed up by anything. So that's gonna be a fun adventure to go and buy a frame that fits this humongous picture. But I want to make something that actually can fit in a room that looks nice in my room at least, on my stark white walls that are full of maps of the area I live in. I could replace one and have a drawing there instead, and look at it and be like, wow, that thing sucks. I want to make a better one. And that's what I do. I have a picture that I made in freshman year of high school, and I look at it every day because it's next to my clock, and it sucks. I use the Prismacolors, and it's just a gradient of brown to orange to red to kind of purple red to violet to dark blue to light blue to green to yellow on a black background. Noticing the motif now. Black backgrounds. In all my works. Except for one you have never seen. My first Polism project didn't have black background. It was a gradient. And it turned from white to purple. And then that gradient ended in green leaves. Contrasting the cool and hot colors above. That was my first delve into pointillism. And my art teacher told me his first painting was something he hated doing. And his art teacher told him at the time, go ahead, do it. You're never going to know if you like it or not if you don't do it. So he tried it, and he ended up winning an art competition and got some money for it. And it's this gigantic canvas. It's like the size of like a 65-inch TV. It makes me think it's like, well, actually, they're measured diagonally, so I'm not actually sure how large it would be. But it's gigantic, and it's beautiful. It's a flower painting, like a prairie full of flowers during a sunset. It's so artistic, you know? And I was like, one time I pointed my pin at him and I told him, I'm not learning anything anymore. You know, this pointillism piece isn't teaching me anything. And he told me, finish it. You'll feel something. And COVID happened, I think. Or no, summer happened, and I finished it during summer. And then I had another piece um, that I worked on during COVID, and he didn't see any of my works finished. And I wanted to show him my works. I really did. But COVID happened. I didn't go back to school because uh, opportunity not to go. I chose not to. And maybe I could have won a competition or something. My peers won competitions. I would see them finish works, and I'd be working on the Polism project still. Worked on it all year long. He told me, nope, you keep working that project. You're not doing this project. You're doing that still. And I was like, damn. Okay. They get to play with clay. They get to paint. They want. And I was forced to work on my Pulitzer project, but I think it wasn't forced. I was rightly assigned work on that because that was the right thing to do. You know, he saw something in me, and he said, "I'm not gonna let him just pass it by. He needs to complete it." And I completed it, and I looked at it and I thought, "Wow, I really like this." I had I had 24 colors, the same color package I have now in front of me. I used then. Somehow these colors have lasted for 6 years straight without needing to be replaced. I don't know if that goes to say how little I actually use them or how good they are in lasting. Maybe they just put down too much ink on the bullet side, but they put down a perfect amount of ink on the fine point side to last 6 years straight. So And there are some colors I don't use, but the colors I do use, the purples, the blues, the reds, they still last. I had to replace only two colors, a green and a purple, the entire time. Um, Everything else is upgrades, So I think I blame my art teacher for giving me this horrific mental disease called pointillism interest or interest in dots or I don't know some sort of dot related fungus in my mind that's taken over my life because it's everywhere. It's slowly populating my house. It's in my closet, and my parents want to frame them, and I'm like, no, please, do not. Where are we gonna put them? Like I don't know. I think the flower aesthetic too. I've always enjoyed because my house is full of flower decorations. We have fake flowers. We have flower paintings. And there aren't a lot of flowers here where I live. All just sort of dead grass and weeds. So anytime I see a flower, it's kind of like whoa, or it's fake. And that's that too, I guess. Um, but here's the ending of the project. I slow it down. The last 10 minutes are always slowed down. Uh, because I think it's more closer to what I was feeling when I was finishing it. That sort of weird, impatient excitement to just get it done, but also to see what it's like when it's done. And the worry of looking at it and being like, oh, this is wrong. Even though I've been looking at it that way the whole time. So any imperfection I fixed immediately. So I don't actually have that problem of it being wrong. I just look at it and I'm like, oh, it's not wrong. Even though it worried me that it was most of it. I don't know. I guess it was a sort of experiment, exercise, a practice with colors and shading. Now I know how it works. And now I can make another one that's better, hopefully, knowing how it works, knowing how all the colors and all the dots interact with each other. Um, I just need to practice making roses, and I think that'll be my next drawing, a rose. And I think the background I want to change. I want it to be a different kind of black background, something more fluid, more animated, almost more lively, just static shapes or static lines. Even though I do think that is a good contrast with organic flowering bold color of a rose. Um, I think there's also something to be had with flowing smoothness, as opposed to sort of harsh lines, geometric shapes. I don't like measuring. It's weird if I don't measure it. Sloppy. So I should make what I like. And even if my drawings all look the same, I'll be improving slowly. Because I think pointillism is an exercise of patience with yourself. Because you only go so fast. I'm not gonna be like Jazza and buy like a machine that's like a motor that spins like a thing that holds your pen to put down a what was it, a million dots or something like that. He made like a pointillism piece of his little icon with a million dots because he said, "Oh, it would take too long to do by hand." I think that's I don't know, I think that's really funny. I don't know how many dots I put down here, but took a while. And well, he's successful. I'm not. So maybe I should look at Jazz as inspiration, right? Or maybe not. Maybe I just don't care. Because I don't. I don't really think I care. I'll upload these videos even if nobody watches them. I'll make better arts even if nobody cares. And I'll keep talking to this microphone with horrific gain and terrible quality, even if nobody listens, because you know what? I just want to. You know? Um, Maybe one day somebody will buy one of these things, and maybe one day it'll be a museum, and I'll be long dead, and they'll like look at it and be like, "Wow, this sure had some meaning behind it." This means this or whatever, and I'll be dead, and I won't be able to tell them what it meant. Not that I would. That's not fun. That's not fun at all. If I tell you what it means, you're gonna be like, "Oh, okay." And it just sort of takes away the mystique, like, mysterious coolness of it. I always envision myself as a cool Willem Dafoe. I'm like a hardcore actor in black and white walking around, so mysterious and cool. The camera crew that follows me around all day, just they love me, and I don't need the attention and the money. I have something else, something more. Well, anyway, here's the finished thing. It's almost done. You can stop watching and go do your thing the rest of the day and live your life, without having to sit through this horribleness anymore. Here it comes. Ready? Oh, there you go. I named it The Leech I Love because I'm cringe and edgy. That's the finished drawing. Really bad picture. Really sucks, doesn't it? Like, it's such a low quality image. But it's the only camera I got, so I guess this is the only picture you'll have. I'll hang it up somewhere, I guess. Some blank wall. But maybe I'll make something better one day. Replace it. You know? Well, I guess next time I'll make a better video, make a better drawing, whenever that is. A couple months, maybe a year, who knows. Whenever it's done, it's done. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.